fits, French braids, and we sang in like 14 languages. So I got a really good ear for all kinds of world music, and kind of that's where my theory sort of came from, how I learned how to read music. And then, it's real expensive to live in California. So being a musician isn't really everyone's parents. They're not pushing you to be a musician. Right. So,
or at least to move away.
Yeah, right. So
it's cheaper somewhere.
I wanted to be a Supreme Court justice for a while, and then I switched into being a psychologist. I thought that'd be so cool to do psych research.
When you want to be Supreme Court justice, what age is this?
That was 4th grade to maybe 9th grade.
What 4th grader in the world wants to be a Supreme Court justice?
Weird one. I don't know. I think, that's when you learn about the branches of government.
Right.
And for some reason, I think I took a trip to
Washington. Put you to sleep, and you go, I don't want to do any of that. But
no, I took a trip to Washington, D.C., and learned about Sandra Day O'Connor. And I just thought, that's the top spot. That's it.
And then, so that for like 5 years or so.
Yeah, that was my thing. And then I found out how much really goes into that career path. There's a lot of reading. There's a lot of lawyering and judging and appellate courts, and you move your way up.
Everything.
Yeah, and you got to have the right. It's a lot like it's probably the same statistical probability that you could succeed in music.
Well, there's many more musicians than there are Supreme Court justices, I would think.
That's true.
So
there's just not a lot that make it. So, and I think looking at how, I'd be 80 when you finally make it. I mean, it was just like.
So you still got time, actually, if you want to fall back on
around.
That. Yeah. But you're doing very well with your career path you've chosen here.
Okay.
Now, after 9th grade, then what? Do you want to?
Then I wanted to get into psych research, and that was kind of the same thing that makes me love songwriting. Just this human, what motivates us and what causes all these angst and sadness and
you
happiness.
May have to be a psych major to decipher Burning House to its
like
core.
A dream book.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So when did you decide, okay, I want to be a singer and a performer and a writer and do this and get paid for it?
Right. Well, still waiting on the pay, but maybe about 2010, I was doing psychology research and was doing really well at it, but just felt like, there's always a lot of bad parts to every job. And I think you have to love it enough to deal with all the bad parts. And it wasn't enough for some reason. And I asked my professor, I was like, what should I do? I think I want to do music, but I'm doing pretty well at psychology. And she said something that I'll never forget. She said, when you're 80 years old and you're looking back on your life, what would you regret having not done? And I was like,
that was it.
I'll see ya.
Convinced you right there.
Mm-hmm. Out the door.
So when you're 80 and you're a Supreme Court justice, looking back, you'll say, I'm glad I did that music thing.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're glad you did too. So we're talking with Cam right here. The new single's Burning House. Let's talk about Burning House.
Yeah.
Because you co-wrote that,
yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
And so I listened to it like, I don't know how many times when it first came out, because we first hear a song, you go, yeah, and then you go, what's going on in there? So you listen a little closer, and then I'm like reading lyrics, and I'm thinking, all right, did she screw up? Maybe he did, and she's blaming herself for that. What's going on there?
Yeah. Well, I like that it's open enough that whatever your story is, you might hear it that way. Because I think there's a lot of people, like sometimes I get off stage and there'll be a girl there, and she'll say, my burning house is right over there, and he's with another girl. Like, just everybody kind of has like their own thing. And so for me, I mean, without it ruining whatever it should be for you, I dated this fella on again, off again in college. And every time we'd get back together, we'd break up. And the last time I broke up with him, and it wasn't very nice. Like, I didn't handle it very well. And about like a year or two later, I was like, he was so important to me. Like, those people, they help shape who you are when you're together for so long. And then when you decide you don't want to be with them, it's like, forget you. I never want to see you again. And I felt really bad about that. So I was going to see him, and I thought long and hard about how to make like a really good apology for my former self and how I acted. And I planned it all out in my head the night before and went to bed with all that on my mind, so that I had this dream. I'm assuming that's what fueled this dream of this house on fire, and I'm walking up to it kind of in this middle of this field, and there's all these firefighters and policemen, and they're trying to get it to go, like, put out the fire, but they're scrambling around and they're saying it's coming down, you can't go in there. And they said, he's in there, but you can't go in there. It's about to come down. And I, being the hero in all my dreams, I run straight into the house, and he's in there and he's trapped. And instead of leaving and saving myself, because I can't get him out, I just lay down next to him and hold him so that he doesn't have to die alone.
Wow.
Yeah, super
so the whole
heavy,
song
right?
is an actual dream. I mean,
yeah, it was it. Yeah.
Wow.
And then the sleepwalking chorus is just about how you have all these feelings left over. For someone that's not, they're not the villain and they're not the Prince Charming, but they still are so important to you. And when you decide not to be with them, you still have all this leftover emotion, because you're not going to be friends anymore. At least we couldn't be after how I ended it. So what do you do with all those extra feelings? And I think they just come out in these dreams, and you're trying to fix it in your own head.
Did you ever talk to him after, after you had the dream? Did you?
Yeah, I went at that party. I did.
Because the second verse is you see him at a party, and you're like, well, I could take him back, but this isn't going to change. So what's the point?
Right.
So, and that's what threw me off, because I go, wait a minute. I thought the first verse, she was doing the bad stuff. And then the second verse was like, well, you're saying I could take him back, but what's the point? So I'm like,
well, because the idea is that people don't ever change. So both of you weren't
actually that great.
Well, no, the people don't change. Like, I wouldn't change. Like, I always kept trying to be, when it's just a tiny bit off and like the gears are just a tiny bit off and it feels like it could work. And you keep thinking, oh, if I just adjust myself a little bit, then it's going to be okay. But if you ever do that with someone, like compromise on a deep level, it just will always be a little off and it'll just wear on it. And so that's the idea, that it wasn't that he was a bad person or that I was necessarily a bad person. It just was, there was a tiny bit off. And so it'll never be right. Gotcha. But you still love that person. Like, do you have someone, I shouldn't ask you that, you're married, but there's people that in your life, I think sometimes that you really wish it could have worked.
Right. Yeah. I think it was with a lot of people, almost everybody probably. There was something. There's something that didn't. Something didn't click. Something didn't work.
Close.
So with that said, everybody go listen 16 more times to Burning House, and you'll get it, and we're gonna play it.
Bring a Kleenex.
So anyway, very fantastic song, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on that.
Only cost a broken heart.
And it's funny because I'm perusing through the internet and whatever, and I see you and Kelsey singing that song as a duet.
We were doing the CMT Next Women of Country, and it was so cool. Like tonight, I mean, that literally was the only other all-female event that I've been a part of, and they're fantastic. I don't know why they don't happen more often. And she was like, I love that song. Do you mind if I just sing along? And I was like, no, not at all. That sounds amazing. And so she just, did harmonies.
Very cool.
Maybe she'll do it again tonight.
I think you guys should. I think it'd be a really awesome thing to do. By the way, and I failed to mention this about 10 minutes ago, but we are streaming live online, by the way. And we're going to also be talking with Claire, Dawn, and Kelsey a little later on in the afternoon here. So make sure you log on to WQMX.com and do that right now, as a matter of fact. And you can wave to Cam on the cam. Right there on the webcam.
Where's the camera?
Right here. See it right over here?
Hi.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. I hope I didn't pick my nose.
WQ, I don't
the whole time.
I was watching. I was making sure. WQMX.com, right on the homepage. You'll see where you can just click and log on and all that stuff. So what you got as far as the album all together? And it's out. And
it's all together, but it's not out yet. The EP is out. Welcome to Cam Country. And that's 4 songs, including Burning House.
Is that on Apple Music?
It is. Good job. And it's also on other stuff too. And the whole album actually has been done for a while because I put it together basically before I got signed. So it was really cool that Sony kind of heard what I was about instead of said like, oh, I've got some songs you can do.
Right. They said, we like this. We just want to.
We dig this. So the album's, it's ready to go, which is like tough not to share all the time. But I think I'm going to play maybe at least 1 or 2 songs off of it tonight too.
Awesome. Were you busy all summer? Were you doing a bunch of shows, or were you just?
Oh my gosh, first year artists, give them a hug if you ever see them, because we are just running.
You guys. I mean, they just.
We do it to ourselves. I mean, you can't be picky when you're new. You want to do everything you can, and it's so exciting. So of course you want to do everything, but it means you basically are flying like every day.
Just go, 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 go. Have someone just tell me what city I'm in.
Yeah, right.
Today. So, well, we're so glad you made it here today.
Yeah, me too. Akron, actually, one of my really good friends, she grew up here. So we're staying at her childhood home.
Oh, really?
It's really fun, yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, hey, again, it's the Chicks with Picks benefit concert tonight. It's sold out. It sold out a long time ago. So you can't get in. Sorry. But if you have tickets, you're going to have a great time tonight. And you all three will be on stage at the same time, correct? It'll be kind of like a guitar pool kind of thing? All right. Awesome. And then what do you got planned for like into the fall? And you still just keep
I'm
going
out with I think Little Big Town and Darius Rucker and just a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, running around and getting ready for when that album's gonna come out.
Just keeping it going. And you know, is there any kind of time frame?
No, not yet. Just the suspense for everyone.
Tease us all and just keep us waiting. Hey, thanks again, Cam, for coming in today. Much more success. I'm sure you'll have it down the road, and we will see you tonight.
Thanks for having me. I know I'm so excited for tonight.
The Tangier tonight's going to be a great venue out there and a great show. So here it is, the single we've been talking about. Give it a very close listen if you haven't already, and you'll see what we've been talking about. This is Burning House, and it's on your country, 94.9 WQMX.